X back with another video. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you're new to the channel and, well, just haven't subscribed. With that being said, please support the affiliate links down below and check out my second channel. With that being said, let's get into the video. So the backstory for this what if is what I think most of you would want to know. Well, first off, I just want to state that I've been wanting to do this what if for a little bit, maybe a month by now. As I saw this, well, idea, so to speak, it was very intriguing. I was very happy to do it, so to speak. With that being said, I think this will be a great what if, and I plan on finishing it within maybe 10 parts, give or take, as I think that's a pretty good, like, amount of time, so to speak. As well, that just makes sense for me to do. I usually end my parts in 10 parts, anywhere from 6 to 10 parts. With that being said, let's get into the video. The Susano. Well, for starters, the Susano is a gigantic humanoid avatar made of the user's chakra, which surrounds them and fights on their behalf. It is the strongest ability available to those who have awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan in both eyes, at least physically, as we do know things like Koto and Matsukami do have some edges, so to speak. But yeah, with that being said, today, we will be discussing if Naruto had it. And now you may be asking yourself, how does Naruto get an ability such as this? Well, pretty simple. And so this ability is going to be a Kekkei Genkai of Naruto's. I've basically just decided to make it this. This is just the most easy way I could do it. Of course, I could also go the Sharingan route, but I feel like giving Naruto the Mangekyo would also lead into many other abilities and would just get a bit complicated from there. Also, some other people could have their, critiques on it, and now Naruto shouldn't be able to get the Mangekyo so quickly and things of the sort, so I just decided to go the Namikaze clan route. By that, I just mean that Naruto is inheriting this Kekkei Genkai from the Namikaze. This also means that Minato is going to be a lot stronger, since Minato himself is a Namikaze. And, yet again, this also means that the Namikaze clan is going to be more renowned throughout all of the Great Nations. Basically, they're going to be known as a cousin clan to the Uchiha. This does not mean that Naruto does not have the Sharingan, but it also doesn't mean that he does. Of course, there is the possibility, as I've made the Namikaze and Uchiha clan like cousin clans, similar to how the Uzumaki and Senju are, but much closer, as if you're an Uzumaki, you just don't inherently get the traits of wood style, but we even know some Senjus can't. Well, most Senjus can. With that being said, Naruto will be very powerful here, and I think now we can fully get into the what if with the backstory of what the Susanoo is going to be like. Also, I want to state this Susanoo is going to act similar to like a guardian at first, and you guys will see how that kind of affects the story and how Naruto is able to use it, or maybe how he first awakens the Kekkei Genkai. And some of you may be asking why Minato is still dead, because he is going to be dead. Also, Naruto does the Nine Tails. Well, for that very reason, he sealed the Nine Tails within Naruto, and also he was able to defeat the Nine Tails much easier in this timeline due to his Susanoo. With that being said, let's begin. Naruto at this point would be in a clash with Haku. Sasuke stood beside him as he fought valiantly to, well, defeat the opponent in front of him. But, like we know in the canon, he was too late. Or you could even say he was too hurt, too beaten up. Needles were all throughout his body, as Sasuke would basically intercept Haku's attack, causing him to fall to the ground. This would cause Naruto to, well, rage, you could say, spurg out even. But with that being said, Naruto would stay calm. Throughout his years of life, this Naruto has learned that even in the most rash and harsh situations, he should always stay calm. He learned this long ago from a teacher who, at this point, I will not name. With that being said, Naruto would call upon something, as he would roar. But this was not a roar of, well, a battle cry, so to speak. Nor was it a roar of pain, like a gah, so to speak. But rather, it was a roar that called upon a being so high, so mighty in stature, that it could even dwarf a building. With that being said, This being, or should I say this thing, this monstrous attacker, guardian of sorts, is known as the Susano. Naruto would call it forth, as the Susanoo would glide past Kakashi and Zabuza's fight, causing both of them to stare into the abyss, so to speak, or stare into the dawn of the Susanoo. Basically, they were looking towards the Susanoo as they would stop what they were doing. The same goes for Saucer, or not Saucery, my bad, I was about to say Saucery, my apologies, Sakura. Um, you know, sometimes I just forget about uselessness. With that being said, Sakura, as well as Tazano, would also stop what they were doing and would look at the Susanoo. This Susanoo was golden in shape, a yellowish golden to be more exact. Now, with that being said, the Susanoo would utterly annihilate the ice mirrors with only one jab of his blade, and this was it going easy. With that being said, Naruto would then be encased in the Susanoo, as the Susanoo would speak. Now, we never see Susanoo's actually speaking. That's why I was a bit conflicted when making this title. I was conflicted in the fact that I was thinking, well, do I want to make the title What If Naruto had the Ultimate Susanoo, since the Susanoo is, in my opinion, a lot better? Or should I make this just What If Naruto had the Susanoo? I decided I wanted Naruto had the Susanoo, but since this is not the actual Uchiha's Susanoo, it is a little different, and it can talk. It can speak fluent English, as English is the main language, the only language basically that we see in Naruto. So yeah, not only that, but it is very skilled. It can act on its own. It has a mind of its own, but it obeys Naruto at any point. Naruto can also shrink it down a size, as at this point, it's kind of big, but not too big. Basically, it looks like how Sasuke's did when there was like that skull, not that much body, like a rib cage, stuff like that. But it's not like huge. It's just kind of like a body of chakra. With that being said, Naruto would use the Susanoo to its complete power. He would utilize it in a way that had never been seen before, as he would tell the Susanoo to destroy what was in front of him. His eyes were now red with the power of the Kyuubi. As the Susanoo would tell Naruto to calm down, Naruto would shake his head. No, Kabuto, you will listen to me. That man in front of me, he killed my friend. Kabuto, the name of the Susanoo, if you did not catch that, Kabuto is its name, would then listen to Naruto, pulling its blade forward as it holds a jabbing-like blade, similar to Shisui's, as it would then pierce right through Haku. This would cause Haku's mask to break, and it would also basically destroy all of Haku's clothing. Of course, he would not be naked here. That's just not gonna happen. But with that being said, his kimono would be ripped to shreds, and his mask would also be pierced, as the sheer force and burst of energy emitted off of the Susanoo was enough to do so. With that being said, Naruto would recognize Haku, as he would immediately command his Susanoo to stop, or Kabuto, I should say. With that being said, Kabuto would stop, as Naruto would be thankful that he had such control over a being so powerful. Naruto would then ask why Haku did what he did, why he would betray the village, as Haku, well, would give them a little bit of an answer. Now, with that being said, I think all of you guys heard me right. Why would he betray the village? Now, with that being said, let me provide some context. When Naruto and Haku fight here, it is on a bit of different terms. Same thing with Zabuza and, well, Haku. With that being said, Zabuza and Haku pretended as if they were, I guess you could say, people who needed help, who needed salvation and asylum within the Leaf Village. They basically pretended enough to where they were able to rise to the ranks, and both Haku and Zabuza have ascended past the rank of Chunin and become a special Jonin. With that being said, that is due to the fact that they are, well, special. Zabuza is special because, well, he holds one of the 7 ninja swordsman's blades, and he is one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, or former, I should say. And Haku special because of, well, his ice release Kekkei Genkai. With that being said, Naruto, Haku, and Zabuza, as well as just the rest of Team 7, had actually formed a bond with them, and this mission that they were going on was actually just to defeat a few bandits from the village, and like build the bridge and stuff. But with that being said, Zabuza and Haku tagged along, as they had kind of formed a big squad of like Haku, Kakashi, Zabuza, Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto, of 6 people basically. And with that being said, Zabuza and Haku were now turning on Team 7 so that they could, well, collect Kakashi's bounty that was in the bingo books, and also gets a lot of money from Gato, which would help Zabuza further his own dream. Of course, Zabuza and Haku, started to take a liking to Naruto and the rest of Team 7, but unfortunately, it just, didn't work out, so to speak. With that being said, that's why Naruto would immediately pull back. Not because he had met Haku before, because they were genuinely friends. Haku would then answer Naruto's question, as he would basically explain that Zabuza's ambitions are greater than any friendship that he would have, as he is merely just a tool for Zabuza to use. Just like in the canon, this would piss Naruto off, as rather than finishing off Haku, he would immediately blitz him, pushing him down to the ground. Now, since he doesn't even have his kimono on, let's just say Haku's back would hurt, as there were many rocks beneath him. If you know or don't know, sometimes when you just, accidentally fall on a rock with your hands are pretty hurt. Maybe scratched up, maybe tattered, many things, cut, things of the sort. But since it's just his bare back, so to speak, he would be very, very hurt, or very, very injured. He basically couldn't move at the moment. As Naruto pushed him down with such force, Haku was, surprised. Haku was also surprised at the Susano. How did Naruto have so much strength, she thought? And in this form, was he, boosted in power? Because, she had never seen such, strength from Naruto. Now, with that being said, Naruto would look at Haku, as he immediately knew what to do. His goal was no longer fighting Haku, but rather fighting Zabuza. Naruto would then snap his fingers, as the Susano would shrink, shrinking down to his body's size. Basically, if you want to envision it within your head, as there is, a fight clip from a modded Naruto Shippuden Storm game playing, so you can't really just envision it from what's on screen. But if you want to envision it in your head, think of it as Naruto now having a goldenish yellow aura all over his body. That's basically what's happening here. Kind of looks like KCM, but it doesn't at all. It's kind of just around his body rather than all over his body. With that being said, Naruto would rush towards Zabuza, as Zabuza and Kakashi would be, at this moment, clashing sword to kunai. With that being said, Naruto would punch Zabuza with a left hit, or punch/hook, in basically his jaw, which would actually cause his jaw to be dislodged and would send Zabuza flying far beyond, you could even say, the Land of Waves village. And maybe this gives you a real, I guess you could say, gauge of how, first off, how powerful Naruto is, but second of all, how strong his punches are. Naruto would then look at his opponent, Zabuza. It seemed that even though they were so far apart, Naruto had the ability to see him. Did Naruto's Susano grant him enhanced sight? Naruto would then fly over to Zabuza, as his Susano would gain wings, or wings of chakra, I should say, not physical wings. With that being said, Naruto would land right beside Zabuza, as he would kick Zabuza up into the sky. Kakashi, Tazuna, and Sakura all watched this, as they were dumbfounded by Naruto's strength. Naruto then flew into the air, as he would unsheath a blade that he kept on him at all times. He would then tell the Susano to let him control his power, as the Susano would nod its head within Naruto's psyche, as at times it can appear there, as well as in its physical form. This is also a disturbance to the Nine Tails, which kind of causes it to, let's just say, not be as hostile. With that being said, Naruto would hold his Susanoo's blade in his left hand, and his own blade in his right, as he would then have an angry look on his face, looking dead in Zabuza's eyes as Zabuza glided throughout the air, crashing into tree after tree, and bird after bird even, as there were many birds flying in the sky on this fateful day. With that being said, Naruto would then tell Zabuza that it's over, that he will kill him. Zabuza looked at Naruto as he would pull his broken, I guess you could say, sword, so to speak, or blade, whatever you want to call it, as at this point Naruto has even broken his blade, as he would then tell Naruto to come at him. His blade now stood in front of his chest, as he would tell Naruto that if he has the guts to kill him, then he should do it now. With that being said, Naruto would continue rushing forward, as the air around him would basically make his hair look, I guess you could say, crazy, so to speak. It was all over the place. With that being said, Naruto would rush past Zabuza, as Zabuza's body would fall to the ground. His sword had been cut into about 1,000 pieces, and his body had been, well, let's just say, beaten. With that being said, Zabuza would cough up blood as he fell into the ground, at high speeds at that, hitting the ground a massive dust explosion of sorts, so a dust cloud, you could call it, would appear as the force that Naruto sent Zabuza at was strong enough to do so, as there was a bit of a rocky-like substance, slash muddy, slash whatever you want to call it, on the ground. It mud hardened, so to speak. That's why, well, there were so many rocks under Haku's back, right? With that being said, Naruto would then fly to the ground as well. Zabuza then looked at Naruto. He was almost unconscious, as Zabuza's eyes would then roll into the back of his head, with a smile on his face. Naruto would then look at Zabuza, as he knew that he was still alive. He knew that he was still breathing. He could hear it. Did Naruto Susano also grant him advanced hearing? Naruto would then ask Zabuza, even though that it was to advance his own goal, why would he betray the village that he swore to protect? Why would he betray the people who he fought with at almost all times, to be honest? And Zabuza gave one response. This response was that of a, well, shaky one at that. As at this point, Zabuza's body is, let's just say, completely broken. I've said that before, but I don't want to get too graphic. Zabuza is beaten, he's bruised, he's bloody, he's cut, stabbed. You guys get the point. With that being said, Zabuza would give his response. Naruto, no doubt you are a great shinobi, but never did I think that you had such a power within you. This chakra armor, this thing you called upon, no, this power you have, it's insane. But I will give you an honest answer. That's because my rage, my infuriation, and my despair, well, it lies somewhere else. I have things that I hate and things that I love. We all do. What's your point, Zabuza? And so, what happens when your very own Kage makes you into a monster? If you don't know, I'm originally from the mist. I knew that, Zabuza. But maybe you just forgot. Seeing that you're in this state, it's laughable. No, Naruto, hear me out. My Kage at that time, Yagura Karatachi, he destroyed my will. He destroyed your will? What did he do to you, so to speak? No. What did he do to you entirely? I want to know. Justify yourself, Zabuza. Tell me what it was. and just maybe I will spare you, forgive you for what you have done to me. No, forgive you for what you have done to us. He made me kill all of my academy classmates. Not only that, but sent me on fierce missions. A duty of mine, but nonetheless they were fierce. But at the end of the day, he was a tyrannical leader and led my own family into despair. If you didn't know, my own brother was in that academy. So you can see how I felt when I had to kill him myself. Naruto would be conflicted. He did not have an answer until his Susano would speak within his consciousness. If you were to forgive somebody like Zabuza, think about what that would make you. You would become a monster, something of despair, just like him. Look at how far he has fallen. Somebody who you trusted, Naruto. I knew that he was fishy when I saw him. Ice release. That hasn't been around for centuries. At least after they were wiped out. And the next thing that was odd was that he was once a member of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen. Why would he ally himself with such a village like ours? Without, well, proper reason. Of course, the reason he gave us was that he was seeking salvation. But we believed that crap, and it ended up with this. This is what happens when you fight, Naruto. You must end all fights. Naruto's Susano would then act on its own, as I did explain that it has a mind of its own, and, well, a body of its own even. As Naruto would watch as his Susano would creep out of his body. I haven't watched the JoJo's, but I know from former comments that, well, let's just say stands do something a little similar, where they can come out of your body, or I don't really know the concept too well, but some of you JoJo fans out there may know. With that being said, his Susano would creep out of his body, as it would then form into its own being. Zabuza Momochi, we have never met before, the Susano would say. What in the hell is this? Zabuza's eyes would roll back into their proper location as he would basically look at the Susano confused. I thought that you had control of it. But rather it's something that has a mind of its own. What in the hell? Now, unfortunately, I have to kill you, but I will tell you this. You are powerful, but not powerful enough. Naruto would tell the Susano no as he would shake his head. Naruto, I explained to you what, well, let's just say, keeping people like this alive could do. I explained how you trusted a man as vile as this, and I explained how you will become that despair if you spare him. So you want me to just kill him outright? This is the battlefield. The Susano would then launch himself towards Zabuza, as Zabuza would accept his fate, grabbing tightly onto his blade as he readied for the pain. Zabuza would grit his teeth as he had thought that he had just been stabbed, but rather Naruto stood in front of him. Stop it now! Stop it now, Susano! Or should I say Kabuto? I restrain you from ever coming out of me again. Kabuto would look at Naruto, as he had no words. Kabuto would immediately creep back into Naruto's body, as Zabuza would be dumbfounded, just as, well, let's just say Team 7 had been when seeing the Susano. This time he was dumbfounded at how Naruto sacrificed himself for him, realizing that Naruto truly was his friend, realizing that even though he had his own ambition, even though he had his own dream, his own goals, and his own, well, to keep it simple, desires, that he could have friends, that he could trust the Leaf Village, and that maybe even his relationship with Naruto could be cured. He and Naruto could establish a stronger bond even. Just maybe. This was a thought that creeped into Zabuza's head. A brief one, but still a thought at that. With that being said, Naruto would tell Zabuza that even though he wanted to kill him, he's decided not to, as he has shed his own blood as well. His own blood, his own sweat, and even his own tears. At this point, Zabuza would be conflicted to not change. He kind of was forced into a situation where he had to change. He would be an evil, maniacal person, just like his former Kage, if he were to, well, let's just say, not change. With that being said, he would lie there on the ground defeated, as he would tell Naruto that he apologizes sincerely, and that he hopes to become friends again with, well, what he would name as Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke, as well as Naruto himself. Naruto would look back at Zabuza as he would smile. Well, I guess you'll just have to show your friendship with us, as you'll be staying here. What? Zabuza thought to himself. What are you talking about, Naruto? Zabuza would ask. Simple. You betrayed us, so you're gonna have to do me a favor. Okay, what is it? You're gonna govern over this village. That will help us in the village create relations, which will also prove that you are willing to work with us. Again, it will prove that you care about our village by strengthening the bond between us. I've heard they have some pretty good shrimp here, as well as the fact that they have their own trading system. So, when this bridge gets finished, which it is about 80% done, well, let's just say, us in the Leaf, and them, the Land of Waves. So, we could have trade. We could establish a great amount of prosperity between our villages together. And you, my friend, you will be the Kage of this village. Establish a ninja system. And by, well, let's just say 4 years, give or take, I'll come back here. And the military might that you've established, well, it can be under the Leaf as well. Well, I guess that's not so bad after all. With that being said, Zabuza, Haku will also be staying here. He can be your Kage guard even if you want. But us as Team 7 will leave, only to return in 4 years. Goodbye, my friend. Goodbye, Naruto. Naruto would walk off as eventually the events of the canon would basically happen as they would heal up and leave, saying farewell to Haku and Zabuza, as they had actually forgiven them. Though Tazuna, of course, hadn't really, but Tazuna isn't necessarily Team 7, he's just somebody who's there. With that being said, we're going to end the part off with Naruto still training with Jiraiya, but also being skilled enough to where he already knows chakra control. He can already walk on water. He's fine in that department. He gets the summoning jutsu down in 3 tries this time, and it actually means that he's able to actually start learning the Rasengan in like the 2-week period from the Land of Waves to the Chunin exams, and so he's going to come in a lot stronger. With that being said, we're also going to have the events that can roll out, though I do want Naruto to have a better score in the written exams, where he's actually going to get a 9 this time. And with that being said, we're going to end the part off with Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura rushing through the forest of death. With that being said, this has been Rami X, and Rami X, oh.